Hey everybody, it's Gus with Egypt Adventures Travel. I am here in Siwa Oasis, which is an oasis in the western desert in Egypt, about 25 miles away from the border with Libya. I have my handy dandy bicycle with me, and I'm going to bike around the oasis and show you some of the things that you can see when you come here on your own Egypt adventure. Let's get started. All right, I'm on my bike right now, and that's the first thing that I want to talk about is renting a bike. Siwa is a oasis, so the area is pretty small, and you can easily bike around to most places within 20 minutes, half hour. Even the most farthest flung sites are probably only about an hour away. I rented this bike that I'm riding for 150 pounds for 24 hours. That's a little bit under $10 US. It's a great way to not just get some exercise, but to also see the oasis from a bit more up and close and personal perspective. The road is pretty bumpy, but I'm biking across this human-made land bridge that goes through Lake Siwa, which is this large saltwater lake that forms kind of one of the edges of the borders of the downtown of the oasis. There's another large saltwater lake on the other side of downtown Siwa Oasis. One of the most relaxing parts about Siwa is just biking or walking through all of the date tree groves and fields and just taking in the beautiful scenery, slower pace, and fewer people than you'll see almost anywhere else in Egypt. So there is our first stop, Jebel al-Mauta, the Mountain of the Dead. You can see it behind these date trees right here. All of those kind of like black entrances basically in the mountain are entrances to ancient Egyptian tombs. So get ready, it's going to be an awesome place to explore. I'm at Jebel al-Mauta, and I had to kind of step inside of a cave to take a video because it's just so windy outside, and the sun is really bright. You might have noticed that I shed some of my layers. It gets kind of hot during the day when the sun is out, especially when I'm on my bike. So it's always good to dress in layers that can be taken off and put in a backpack or tied around your waist when you get a little bit warm to cool down. At Jebel al-Mauta, I can't take pictures inside the tombs or take video, so unfortunately, you're gonna have to just come to this amazing place and see for yourself. But the tombs here are from the Greco-Roman period of Egyptian rule, so they're a lot newer than the tombs in Valley of the Kings, but they're still really awesome with some amazing iconography and color that still has survived. So up here is the Temple of the Oracle, and I'm biking up to the entrance. This is an ancient temple where the oracle in Siwa used to have residence, and the oracle story is super interesting, so I will tell you once we get up to the top. So the story of the oracle is super interesting. The oracle is this person who supposedly could predict the future, and oracles in ancient times used to be consulted from things really mundane to things really important. So this oracle in Siwa became famous because supposedly Alexander the Great came to Siwa Oasis, and the oracle told him that he would defeat the Persian Empire, which was the most powerful empire in the world at the time. And Alexander the Great later defeated the Persian Empire. So this oracle, who made this really off-the-wall prediction that came true, became really famous and revered, and people would make a pilgrimage from all over to this oasis to visit this temple and consult with this oracle and ask for their advice. Here is the outside of the Temple of the Oracle. We're gonna climb up these steps in this walkway to get up to the top and inside. So even though this temple is pretty ruined, there's not a lot of inscriptions, that remain. A lot of the structures are kind of falling apart. It's still a cool area to just walk around and explore. And just knowing that, well, allegedly, Alexander the Great once visited here almost 2,000 years ago, or actually over 2,000 years ago, makes it really cool. The Temple of the Oracle has a really cool blending of the old and the newer, but still super old. This looks like the Shali Fortress in downtown Siwa town. And then over here, much older structure, you have the temple remains that looks a lot more similar to ancient Egyptian architecture. So here we are at the remaining entrance to the temple. Let's head on inside and take a look around. As you can see, no inscriptions really remain. A lot of it's been restored. Stuff put in for structural stability. And you probably also noticed this, but I have this temple completely to myself. There's not a single tourist at this site right now. Here's another view of the Temple of the Oracle ruins. And the town of Siwa below. We are coming up here to the temple of Umm Ubayd, the other ancient Egyptian temple that is right next to the Temple of the Oracle. And this is another temple that was dedicated to the god Amun. The first time I was in Siwa and my driver brought me to this temple, I was like, oh my god, there's nothing to see. It's definitely in a super ruined state, but we're still gonna hop up to take a look at some of these inscriptions. The cool part about this temple ruins is there's no tickets to purchase. You just bike up or walk up or drive up and come and look at this awesome inscription that still remains. So this temple was built in the around 300 BC, and here's another piece that still remains that has some graffiti on it from some people who visited in later times, but still probably way older than anybody watching this video. And the scenery around here is beautiful. We are biking through the date trees and heading to my favorite site in Siwa. It is Cleopatra's spring. And this spring is essentially a giant natural swimming pool fed with fresh water, and it's really refreshing on a day like today. Looks like it is a busy day at Cleopatra's bath or Cleopatra's spring. Probably a bunch of people in enjoying the water. Okay, never mind. I guess nobody's actually in the water. People are just hanging out around outside. There's a lot of different restaurants. You'll kind of see them in the background of this video where you can just sit, have a meal, have something to drink, and relax. And places to change when you want into your swimming clothes and then get ready to jump in. It is so nice and relaxing up here. There's just cushions and tables. They make food, they have drinks, and there's a place to charge phones. And the water is behind me right there. And I just changed into some shorts because I am getting ready to jump in.
The first time the person helping me take the video didn't start the video, so now it's the second time jumping in. 1, 2, 3.
تعال خد معك موبايل. كذبت المي خد.
I'm sitting on the steps of the spring. It's really echoey in here. The water feels amazing. I was so cold when I got out. It's super warm and probably feels like a swimming pool in the summer. And it's fresh water. It's gorgeous. You can probably see all these bubbles that are coming up to the surface from below. They're coming up from the source where the spring is fed, and then the spring is pretty deep. Looks to me to probably be about 20 feet to the bottom. So when you come to Siwa Oasis on your own Egypt adventure, it looks like you can have a natural freshwater cold spring all to yourself. After taking a dip in the spring, it's awesome to relax with a juice and some food at one of the places right by the spring. I've got what they call Siwa juice, which is a mixture of dates from Siwa, bananas, Nescafe, and milk. So almost kind of like the Siwa version of an iced coffee. Now we're biking across the really salty lake that's in Siwa. This is the lake that's on the other side of the downtown part of the oasis. We're gonna find a salt pool close to the other side to relax in and get some salty water soaking time in. This area is so cool. It's just like miles of this salt lake that the people in Siwa can mine salt from. Salt is one of their exports here, and everything is super duper shallow. There's also some kind of cool birds flying around and walking around on the lake. So I decided I'm gonna hang out at this salt pool. There's these pools all over this area. Some of them, they are actively mining the salt, so you don't go into those ones, but you pick any other one that looks good, get in, and enjoy the salty sensation. The water is way colder than I anticipated it would be. The last time I was in Siwa and came to one of these salt lakes, it was closer to summer and the weather was a lot warmer. Because of the wind, it's actually really cold. So I think this is the furthest I'm gonna go in this time. After a super long bike ride, I am back in downtown Siwa town, and I'm at Abdo, which is a restaurant that is kind of a little bit touristy, but it's a staple here in Siwa. They've got great food. Let's take a look at their menu. So for breakfast, they've got the classic Egyptian staples, fool, which is beans. They've got different cheese dishes, sausage dishes, and eggs. And then for their main courses, they've got a lot of different meats that are grilled, and stuff comes with couscous or with rice. And usually meals involve salads, tahini, things like that included. I've also got some soup. I'm guessing the Egyptian soup, yeah, so it's lisan asfur. So it's like it translates as bird tongue soup, but it's just like a salty soup that has these small risotto-shaped noodles in it. Tons of different options for side dishes. I would be interested to try some of the dishes that sound a little bit more American than Egyptian, but sound kind of cool. Oh, they have fatir. So fatir is like an Egyptian crepe, kind of. You can do it sweet or savory. So it looks like these are all savory. They've got some pizzas. Probably wouldn't recommend doing that. And then tons of different options for dessert and drinks. All right, let's order. I was so hungry after biking around all day that I got a bunch of stuff. So I also got a fatir that has minced meat or ground beef in it, and that's still coming. But right here I've got kofta and like shish kebab, like chicken and tomatoes and peppers from the grill, and then salad here and tahina salad and some olives and bread. So the fatir just came, and check out this deliciousness. Inside we've got vegetables like peppers and onions, cheese, and ground beef. It's like just food coma heaven. And it comes with ketchup because for some reason Egyptians love eating pizza and fatir with ketchup on it. Here is my bill. I've got my mixed grill right here, my fatir, and the rest of the fatir is takeaway for my bus ride to Alexandria as a snack tomorrow. And then this is a tea that I got at the end to just sit back and relax. And service charge right here. So my total is 165 pounds, which is just under $10 for all that food. The last stop on my bike tour today, I'm going to be doing on foot because this place is where I also rented my bike from, so I just returned it. I am at the Shali Fortress, which is an ancient Ottoman fortress in downtown Siwa. It is really cool to just walk around and explore. There's not a whole lot that remains in terms of any like writing or inscriptions or anything like that, but it also gives you a really great view of the city. On your way up into the fortress, there's also a lot of really cool spots to look at. Rugs, textiles, rock salt lamps, and all sorts of different handicrafts from Siwa. I stopped and chatted with one of the shopkeepers for about a half hour, so now it's really dark. But it's actually kind of neat to be walking around this fortress and looking out over the city at night. It's eerie, but cool at the same time. And this fortress was built in the 13th century, so over 700 years old. It looks like the entrance to the top actually is blocked off. Don't know if that's because it's late or if it's blocked off for another reason, but get to just take in this really cool view of downtown and the outside of the fortress up here. That's the spot that's been blocked off. One of the things I love about coming to Siwa Oasis is going shopping and getting all sorts of things that are made in the oasis itself. Check out all of this stuff. So first off, Siwa is really well known for producing olive oil. So that's what you see right here. They've got a lot of spices down here that you can buy in bulk. Different like beauty products here. And the most famous thing in Siwa is the dates. So they have all these different dates on this section right here. And olives. And then over here, different types of like jams and preserves. One of them that I love is this dates jam. So it's jam that is made with dates, sugar, citric acid, pectin, whatever benot is, and sorbate. So you can see it's like super basic ingredients, but this stuff is really, really good. And then something that I just saw for the first time this trip that I thought was super cool is they've got this Egyptian hot sauce that you can try. Everything has a date on it that it was made. So this is in Arabic. It was produced in January 2021, so super fresh. And this date jam was made in February of 2021. I ended up buying this package of dates. I don't have a ton of room in my suitcase for a lot of stuff, otherwise I'd buy more. This package of dates cost 15 pounds, which is just under $1. And then I also got this salt. It's basically just like salt to use as like a exfoliating scrub. This is also 15 pounds, so just under $1. Dates, like this amount of dates at the grocery store in the States would probably be at least like $15. And these ones are fresh, they're right from the source.